You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Are you ready to explore the unknown? Dive into the world of the strange, mysterious, and unexplained with Eerie Expeditions magazine. Each issue is packed with spine-tingling tales, cutting-edge paranormal investigations, and exclusive insights into hauntings, cryptids, UFOs, and more. Whether you're a seasoned investigator or just love a good ghost story, Eerie Expeditions magazine has something for you. Join our growing community of truth seekers and adventure lovers. Subscribe today at EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com and unlock the secrets of the supernatural. Are you ready? That's EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com, where the extraordinary is just a click away. Dare to discover.
What's out there? What creates the shadows in the corners or the creatures of the dark? Who are those on the other side? What do they have to say? This is the Gateway Podcast. This is not your normal style of paranormal talk radio. Brought to you live from United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM New Orleans.
Hey everybody, good evening and welcome to the Tuesday night edition of Into the Night with me, your host Sean Kelly. Want to thank you PRN Talk Radio, 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans. I'm grateful that they're giving me an hour on Sunday nights from 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. on the same platform, and Tuesday nights from 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. Besides my show, there's a bunch of other shows on here. The Outer Realm with Michelle and Amelia. You got Joe Montaldo's, his show, Beyond the News, all kinds of other stuff. Okay, Heidi's phone is glitching bad. Hey, Mr. Wojo, good to see you. Kurt, evening, Sean. Hope you're having a good night, brother. My girlfriend said this one sounds interesting. That's cool. Okay, and hello, Holly. Good to see you, hon. Good to see you. So, a couple announcements. Okay, April 22nd. It was next week, so I got it all wrong. Next week, Maximum Furyk and Dan Hegman will be my guest on next Tuesday, talking about the 18th annual Butler Conference on April 26, 2025. And like I've said before, many a times on this show that I've been to them, and they're a pretty good place. They're a pretty cool place to go to. So I'm really interested at talking to the both of those gentlemen next Tuesday night. Don't forget, tonight at 9:10 p.m., our dear friend C.L. Thomas, our guest tonight is Christine Alexandria, and they'll be talking about intuition and spirit guides, which should be very, very interesting. I'm really looking forward to listening to her show tonight. So after my show, go over and check her show out. Give her some love. Hey, Mark Eddy, good to see you, buddy. Another thing with C.L. Thomas is that her magazine, Eerie Expeditions magazine, she just got a brand new issue, The Fae, the Realms of the World, the Fae Realms of the World. So, if you go to her Facebook page, you can see, and there's a couple links there that you can actually click on to, be part of the magazine's, you know, belong to the Facebook group or all that good stuff. Well, tonight, guys, I'm very, very nervous. Okay. The reason being is my dear, dear friend Heidi Gold. She, I decided to, in a pinch, talk, wanted to come up with a topic tonight. And the first thing that popped into my mind was the phase and the fairy realms. All right. And I mean, I had a stressful, last week was all stressful for me. I'm surprised I made it through. And so I asked my dear friend Heidi if she could help me out, and she found me a lot of links to the fairy realm, and talk about the different fairies and what their meanings are and stuff like that. And I'm sorry that your phone is glitching, Heidi, because I might need your help here tonight a little bit. But also, my brother, he gave me this. He gave me this book. It's called The Modern Witchcraft Guide to Fairies. So I was looking at that before. Hey, Holly, good to see you. So I was looking for, I was just glancing through it, and it was pretty interesting. I never realized. Okay, all right, she's back. Thank goodness. Now my heart palpitations are doing okay now. I think my energy just went back down. But Heidi, I can't thank you enough for sending me all the links that you did on this. To be honest, it was overwhelming, but I did the best that I could. So I did copy down a couple notes, and if hey, Mr. Roja, Heidi does a great job about mysterious topics. I know, and I mean, she's my go-to girl if I need to have a question answered. I mean, she knows her stuff. Um, so, and Mr. Wojo, I'd stick around and listen to this show because you're always out in the woods hunting Bigfoot, right? Um, there's more to life than Bigfoot out there in the woods, my friend. And, what I've read and what I've learned, reading over some of these links that Heidi and my brother's book, told me about, maybe I might be a little bit more safer out in the woods. Yeah, believe it or not, yes. Um, if you come up to me and ask me, do fairies exist? I'll tell you straight to your face. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I do believe in them. In fact, I've seen them. I think I've seen little pixies. I'm not sure. They're really bright. Heidi says, no worries, so I'm glad to help. I've been super focusing, researching the faith for at least 3 years. CL Thomas, I believe. Hey, CL, good to see you, hon. And Michelle says, yes, I do. Um, you know, whenever I go gold prospecting, all right, I do see mushroom rings. And I read a little bit about mushroom rings, and they're called fairy rings. And some say that they're a portal to another realm. Okay. Um, and they say if you happen to accidentally step in front of it, hey, Joe Fox, good to see you, buddy. And they say if you step into the fairy ring, that is bad luck. You get a lot of bad luck. And if you step out of it, um, that's bad luck too. Agatha, hey, Agatha, good to see you, hon. There are really old photos, skeletons around of the little people. Ah, I didn't know that. See, this is like really fascinating to me because I mean, I've talked about them, I've seen them, but they're so mysterious, they're mythical, you know, um, but they do exist. And from what I understand, tell me if I'm wrong, that they originated over there in Ireland, okay, over there in the United Kingdom. And they also say leprechauns, they do exist. They do exist. And from what I understand, they love gold. Joe Fox says it is a portal on days like today. I want to enter it. Heidi says, been in the woods my entire life. I have seen fairy ring about a year ago. I wonder about dandelions in the circle around a tree. I know they grow everywhere, but this circle today had a vibe. I would trust the vibe, Heidi. Seriously, I would trust the vibe on that. Hey, Kason, good to see you. You still in bed? Yeah, that's right. It's what, early morning over there in Sri Lanka. Kason's from Sri Lanka. Um, and so maybe, go with the energy. From what I understand, what I read too today is that fairies are like really attracted to flowers. Okay. And some of them are mischievous. Some of them can be bad. Some of them can be good. You know, I would think, I guess it all depends the way you talk to them or you act in front of them or treat them. Oh, look at that. See, Agatha's I am half Sri Lanka. Ah, that's cool. Hey, Kason, there you go. Agatha's, she's half Sri Lankan. Michael Anthony, good to see you, sir. Welcome. Welcome to the show. Michelle says, my neighbors have a video of fairy by their large pine tree. Hey, River Rose, good to see you. Oh, man, this is great, man. I get a lot of people in the room. This is wonderful. But so I guess if you treat the fairies and the fae with respect in return, they will help you out. But there's a bunch of other, instead of like seeing the ones that you saw on Peter Pan, the little green one floating around and stuff like that. Oh, thank you, Bernadette. Thank you. Oh, it's good to see you too, Bernadette. How much respect for the land and nature, I believe, plays a part along with one's vibration. Sparky, I've seen old trees and rings. They are very hidden. Oop, that was just, some are nice, others are nice, or not so nice. Um, but they just they just are very fascinating. Now, my question to you, the people in the chat room tonight, my question to you is, have you ever seen a fairy? Have you ever seen an elf, a leprechaun, a gnome, anything like that? And if you haven't yet, what would you do if you met one? What would you do? So, Mr. Wojo, you're out there hunting Bigfoot, and all of a sudden you see these little green things running around. What would you do? Kurt says fairies and leprechauns have a connection with spirits and Bigfoot. I don't know about that. I feel they have a close connection and communication. Sparky's seen them. CL says, I saw some sort of elemental in Southern California. Joe says, I never. And Sparky says, LOL, I'm on YouTube and Facebook for views. LOL, you're cute. That's funny. And River Rose says she has seen fairies. And Heidi says, I believe I have. I have definitely sensed them. They are little 2-foot shadows. That's what CL Thomas says. Well, I've seen them. And I've shared this story many a times on my show, but I'm going to share it again. A long time ago, when I was divorced from my wife, I had my son for the weekend, and where I lived at was an apartment complex where they set in different areas, they put up gardens and they planted flowers and they planted vegetables and stuff like that. So one afternoon or one like uh, toward the evening, me and my son decided to go out and sit in the garden because they had park benches there. We were sitting there, and then all of a sudden, this was like in April, okay, and all of a sudden, we saw all these little sprites. I guess you want to call them pixies because they were real small, bright lights dancing all around, like going in and out, like zoom, zoom, zoom. They were like really going by very, 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 very fast. And It was just mesmerizing. And we sat there for about an hour, and my son was like in awe of them. He really was. I was like, Daddy, what are those? And I'm like, I don't know, buddy, but they sure as hell ain't lightning bugs. Uh, that's what we call fireflies in Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh. We call them lightning bugs. Um, so it's like, I don't know. It was a very interesting light show. Yes, it was a very, very interesting light. Heidi says they're very chaotic, playful energy. Many, Sparky says many can be 5 to the size of a man. Michelle says, I wonder if fairies are related to Native American skyfish. I don't know about the skyfish. I don't think so, my friend. Tim Vogel says, howdy, folks. Um, Michelle, because if I'm not mistaken, the skyfish are rods and different types of lights that you take that are out in the middle of the forest. Could be, I don't know. But I don't know. Deep down, I don't think they are. Um, but I don't know. What would you guys do if you saw a fairy? What would you guys do? Or you ran into the gnomes? Would you go up and shake its hand? Because they say that the fairies are very enticing, that they can actually catch your eye, and for some kind of magical reasons, okay, um, they can lead you deep into the woods and you'd be lost. You would befriend them. That's good, Joe. I know I would. Um, but you have to treat them with respect. This I do know. And another way to, how they say, if you want to get to a man's heart, you have to feed him food. Well, if you feed them cakes, honey and milk, and even flowers, because they do eat flowers, from what I understand. It's their source of food. They are really, they can help you out. That they would love you forever, I do believe. But also, I was told that, if you keep doing that, then it could backfire on your butt and like say, hey, uh, so you're giving us this and we want more, we want more, we want more. They're yelling at you, and then they can get mad at you and wreak havoc. And very troubled in their life. Sparky says, yes, and that are very. So let me see. Agatha says, they're beautiful light beams. You feel so much joy meeting them. I always bring them cookies. Heidi says, I just gave out water, honey, milk, glitter, some shiny stuff, and some candy. There you go, everybody. Heidi gave out water, honey, milk, glitter, some shiny stuff. So they love shiny stuff. Shiny stuff. Okay, Tim Vogel was also is a good friend of mine, and he also hunts Bigfoot. And he said, I've had reports of 6 to 3-inch white fairies flying down the trail next to the lake and entered the water seamlessly. That is great. See, I guess this was a decent topic to bring up tonight. That was pretty cool. But Heidi sent me a link on elementals. All right. And there was, a long time ago, I worked on the towboats down on the rivers here in Pittsburgh. And one morning I woke up and I'm just sitting on the boat and I'm looking at the water. And all of a sudden I see all this smoke coming up from the water. And whenever the wind blew, okay, the smoke things would just go with the wind. Thank you, Joe. The smoke coming out of the rivers would flow with it. And then someone told me about they were called water spirits. And to get to that, where I'm trying to get to that story, was that when I was sitting on the boat, it was amazing, and I was like in awe, because I never seen something that pretty, with these things waving on top of the water. And when someone told me they were water spirits, it got kind of interesting for me. And Cat Abbott, hey Cat, oh, love my stories. Thank you, hon. It's good, Cat. Good to see you. That's my buddy. He's from down Australia. I hope you're feeling better, my friend. Heidi says, I had always wondered how big Fae could get, as I thought they were smaller little people, but I have seen 2 to 3 foot energy light balls here. Huh, that's pretty interesting. I also found out today in the book and on some of them links that when a tree dies, when there's a dead tree, the fairies go away. I'm glad you're doing okay, buddy. But dead trees, the fairies go away. Okay. And I guess but they do hang around, but they try to find some other place to be helpful. You know, I mean, I just get this thing in my head, what I vision in my head, what they'd be like. Could you imagine? Can you imagine what it'd be like if you actually happened to cross into their realm? I mean, what would it be like? Would it be like going to New York City? Okay, and you know how busy New York is all the time with all these people roaming around. Can you imagine all the fairies if you happen to go into fairyland or fairy world? That would be like totally crazy. Would it be like New York? Gulliver's Travels. Thank you, Joe. Sparky says, if they are there and trees die, there's another dark entity there. Huh. It's why they leave. Okay, thank you, sir. CL Thomas, hello, did you? But CL was right, Gulliver's Travels. Well, I haven't read that book or saw that movie in a long time. But that would be crazy. Yeah, I'd be that Gulliver, man. They'd like throw lines and I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting, I think. But listen, I'm going to take my break now. All right. I have a couple announcements to make, and I will come back and we'll continue this conversation. So please don't leave. I'll be back about a minute. Okay. I'll be back in a minute. Here we go. Let's do this one. Here we go.
When they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
The Church of Mavis radio show, Friday nights at 8 p.m., 7 Central, starring Jeffrey Pritchett with his co-hosts Wham and Jay McNicholas, right here on the United Paranormal Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second part of Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. So I have an announcement here, a couple announcements. Shout out to my friend, and she works at the Steel Goat Marketplace. It's Penn Hills, PA, and it is Runa. And she's, a little ad for them. It says, looking for insight, inspiration, or just a little magic, come and experience readings with Runa. Runa is a medium and palm reader. Steel Goat is an awesome gift shop too. Runa is part of a passionate group of individuals doing what they love to do. And I do know Runa, and she's a very, very, very good medium. Very good medium. So if you're in the Pittsburgh area around Penn Hills, Pennsylvania, please stop off at the Steel Goat Marketplace and stop on in and ask for Runa and get a reading from her. That would be awesome. I highly recommend her. Also, again, I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans for allowing me to give you an hour on this show on Sunday nights and Tuesday nights, 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. And I have a couple things here that people wrote during the break. And Kurt says, look at how many species of animals there are just on Earth. Could you imagine all the rest on the scale or frequency? We can't see anything on how much of us really are out there. Very, very true, Kurt. Very true. God only knows what's out there. And even today, they are finding out that there are more species of animals and insects, stuff like that. And I don't know. I guess you can like write a whole book on what's out there. And we will never, ever find out what is truly out there. Have you seen them pictures of them weird fishes that they pull from the bottom of the sea? I think it's like kind of crazy. Tim Vogel says, the woman who told me about the fairies flying down the trail said she thought they were praying mantises. That's interesting. But I can actually see that. She thought they were. But, I don't know. I guess when you see something that you do not comprehend, I guess you can call that paranormal. Could you? Could you not? Of course you can. Heidi says, a few years ago, what I believe was a fay tree was cut down, and I wondered what would happen, but they have stuck around. Well, Heidi, you have awesome energy. You know what I mean? So, honestly, if I was a fairy and I know your energy, I'd definitely hang around because I know you would treat me with respect. And that's what you do. You treat all nature with respect. And even though, they're real and maybe some people might think that they're not real. I don't know. But the energy you have is loving and caring. Michelle says, my friend on TikTok just sent me a gnome. She make out of clay for my garden. Oh, that's cool. I have friends that make good gnomes too. I really do. Some don't. Heidi says some don't believe in energy and frequency, but believe in Wi-Fi. True. That's true. We had fish with 3 eyes caught by a Trojan nuclear plant years ago. That's crazy. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you. And I do believe that my friend Elsa, yeah, hey, Elsa, welcome. Elsa, yeah, I'm getting them all from down in New Zealand, Elsa, or Australia. I don't know, but this is like really, really great. So back to the fairies and gnomes. Does anybody ever have any questions or any stories that they would like to share? I would like to hear from the Bigfoot people out there. Like Tim, have you ever witnessed or have you ever seen any type of fairies or fays or different mystical creatures out there? Where you're at. Heidi says, I lived near an ammunition plant and the fish had multiple eyes. Cows had deformities. That's sad. That's really sad, Heidi. But I also found out that fairies they're like shapeshifters too. Like, I do believe rabbits, to be honest with you. I do believe they shapeshift into rabbits. So, you're looking at a rabbit. Now, are you looking at a rabbit or are you looking at a fairy? Also says, Faye's Mystic One's favorite topic. So good to see you on live, Sean. Thank you, Elsa. Heidi says, so sad in Kansas back in the day. Kat says, sorry, Sean, I have to go to an appointment now, but we'll tune in next time. Thank you, Kat, for being here. Good luck on your appointment. Oh, man, it was nice to see you in the room, Kat. Thank you for coming in. It is nice to see you. But I don't know. What do you think, Heidi? What do you think? Do you think they shapeshift into animals and mainly rabbits? Huh? That's very possible. I mean, there's like so much information out there. And here's what the crazy part about the whole thing is. I'm not knocking people who wrote books about fairies or gnomes or any other mystical creatures. I'm not. But my question is, how do they get the stories to write? Do they hear it from other people? Do they hear it from read about it, then print it or talk about it? What do they do? I guess my show, you could say what I'm telling you tonight, I got it from other people, from what I read. But where did the original, tales, stories come about the place, about the fairies? CL says, I just did an entire magazine on a topic. It's hard to find stuff on it. It is. Well, CL, talk to Heidi. Yeah, I'm telling you. But I'm really looking forward to CL's reading her magazine. And it looked very, very interesting. And you know what? I really believe, CL, that we were on the same wavelength, for everything happens for a reason. That's my book. Everything happens for a reason. There is no such thing as coincidences. And when I saw your thing post up on Facebook, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing a show about that. Let's see. Heidi said, oh, CL says, I got interviews from Japan, Native Americans, Ireland, Mexico, and even Hawaii. That's great. Heidi says, I believe there are generations of stories from very long ago. And Heidi said, me too, Sean. Saw the cover today. Elsa, the wind whisperers to U.S., the Wimpsies. Ha! The Wimpsies. That's interesting. The wind whisperers. That I might have to look that one up and check that little situation out there. But like, Alice in Wonderland. I read that earlier up in the chat room. Can you imagine how many rabbit holes you go down just to find out about, leprechauns, gnomes, and it would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if someone came up to me and said, Sean, unicorns do exist. And, I wouldn't be surprised if they did or not. Okay. I'd be like, oh, wow, show me a real picture. Kurt says, what's the best thing to set outside your detection system? Camera, trail cam. There's high strangeness outside my house in the woods. I want to try to get data and track and see what it is. What I would suggest, Kurt, would be trail cams or dare cameras is the best thing to do. Put them out there, set them, and just leave them go. And just let the camera do the work and go from there. That would be the best for outside, investigating or, just to see what's out there. Trail cams are the best. Also says so many rabbit holes. Kurt says, I feel dragons did also. You know what? Um, I believe in dragons. My brother believes in dragons. My brother does dragon magic. And I know I listened to a show or I was in a show that they did talk about dragons. And that's another whole story and a half about the dragons. But from what I understand, is that they do exist. And I believe that. Um, but back to the water spirits, man. So when I found out what they were, I would wake up and I would sit on the boat and I would watch these smoke things come out on the water and just move with the wind. And it was very, I don't know, I hate the word tantalizing, but it was really interesting. And what was so great about it was I just had this peace and calmness over me. I really did. It was a calm that I have never thought that I could possibility have, because when you work on the towboats on the river, and that's going up and down the rivers and grabbing barges, putting them together, that's hard work. Kurt, and I was like, it was like my medicine. But at that time when I was working on the barges, I really wasn't into the mystical type of stuff. I really wasn't, so I really could not understand what was happening. But when I found out, it piqued my interest for a little bit. It really did. So to say that that I would be safe out in the woods because I'm a city boy, I don't know. What I've learned in the last couple of days about all the fays and the fairies out in the woods, how they could help you, then I kind of feel safe, you know, because in my mind, what I feel is that they actually um, get other animals to help you out, or protect you, I guess. Or, when you see them flying around, okay, or walking around, you feel kind of safe. And that's how I'm feeling right now. I kind of feel safe. So let's go out in the woods and try to find them. That'd be crazy, right? If you're going out hunting Bigfoot and all of a sudden you see all these fairies hanging around, which way would you go? Would you go? Would you go and look for Bigfoot, or would you go and investigate, the fairy realm? Michelle says, great topic tonight. Thank you, Michelle. Kurt says, I also believe that there is a cure for every illness on earth. Mother Nature provides it, and it's either being held for profit or haven't discovered it. Oh, no, they discovered it. There's a cure for cancer. I have no doubt in my mind. I'll take that to the bank. I'll take that to my grave. I'll even, bet my house on it. Seriously, they do have the cure for cancer. They're just holding on to it so they can make a profit off all the medicines that they put out there. And who knows? Who knows what's going to come up or what's going down the down the trail with this stuff. You know what I mean? But I do believe that they also can heal people. They can point you into a direction to where you can, like, eat some kind of growth out in the woods that can, make you feel better. Or with my experience as a watching the water spirits on the water, it was a very calming effect. Kurt says, me too, Sean. I just had to throw the other side in there. You know what? That's okay, Kurt. This is our show. Into the Night is our show. And that's okay to throw whatever you want out there. And we could talk about it. I always believed, and ever since I started podcasting, whatever you need to talk about, you just throw it out there and we'll talk about it. I have no problem with it. No problem at all. So, conclusion. The conclusion to this, okay? Um, what do you all think of the show tonight? Do you think that, how you go paranormal investigating, you go hunting ghosts, okay? If you try too hard, you're not going to get any. But my question to you is, now, if you went out in the woods or a garden or a flower garden, do you think you would actually see fairies? If they knew that you were looking for them, do you think they would show up and show you? Or do you think they'll run? What do you think? You know, I think they would stick around. I think if the energy that you have that you release from your body, like Heidi, she has loving and caring energy. So, or Michelle, who has loving and caring. All my people in my room, my chat, have loving and caring, you know, energy. So, um, yeah, it's true too. Heidi says depends on your true intentions, and I guess you can put that way too with spirits too. I think they would stick around. I really believe that, um, and help you out. But here's the main. I'm glad we got about 8 minutes, 9 minutes left of the show tonight. So let me ask you guys this question: have you ever heard of fairy gardens? Little fairy gardens. And if you have heard and you wanted to make a fairy garden, so they have a place to stay, and make them feel at home, what would you make it out to be? Sparky says, "Yep." Okay, Sparky, would you take the time out and make one and put it in a special place near an old tree so the fairies would feel welcomed? And how would you build? Would you build little houses, or one big like fairy hotel? And put shiny rocks there, put shiny things, put them all around because they are attracted to shiny things. And also flowers. So you plant some flowers, throw some shiny rocks out there, you find some shiny gems and stuff like that, and put them all around. And I'm sure, you know, they will come around. But you know what? This thought just popped into my head. Okay. I think, okay, that if you did build one, don't put a trail cam there to get their pictures. Okay. Don't do that. Just sit out there and wait, just look back and just watch and see if they do come around. Because personally, I think that if they found out that you were taking pictures, they might think you're deceiving them and all hell would break loose um, on you. Okay, I got some stuff here that was written. Uh, Heidi says, yep, in the process of making one or adding into a spot I have. Okay. Michelle says, yes, love fairy gardens. My neighbor has one by a tree. She has a door on her tree. Oh, okay. Sparky says, sun catchers. My girl asked maybe with some glitter, maybe to try. Yeah, absolutely. Glitter would be great. Anything sparkly, anything shiny. Kason says, I've read I love fairy circles, going to make an AI image of an all-girl dancing in a fairy circle in the night. Okay, buddy. You have to send me the picture. Heidi says, I've read they live in um, any kind of bellflowers. Oh, okay. I love my moonflowers, and they feel they do too. I feel they come to and trigger my cameras to say thank you for a gift. As long as you feel that, as long as they do that, yeah, they probably do. And I have a friend that has so many fairies around her house that they actually go into her house. And she always sends me videos of them flying, literally. Hey, brother, here's my brother Patrick. Good to see you, man. Thank you for coming in. He's the one that, gave me the book, The Modern Witchcraft Guide to Fairies. All right, Kason says, I will deal. Okay, go. That'll be good. But yeah, Heidi, whenever my friend, she has all these fairies hanging around her house, and they come into, and she has pure energy just like you. Seriously, loving and caring energy. And they are attracted to it. And she would show me these videos and these pictures that she would take, but the videos are awesome. I mean, I don't know. Have you ever heard of a red fairy? I don't know. She sent me a video one time. It was all red. No lie. It was seriously red. But it just seems like that once he started videoing, you could actually see them, and they weren't bugs. I mean, this thing came right at the camera and stopped. It was fluttering their wings. Um, but don't try to, you know, maybe maybe take the video or the pictures for yourself, but don't try to make a profit on them. Keep it for yourself. And that maybe one day your grandchildren, you can show that to them and say, hey, you know what? Look at this picture I took. And like Heidi said before, your intentions are good, they're going to come to you. And I believe that. In fact, I'm going to try to throw out some honey and milk tomorrow. We need to get honey. I'm going to try to get some honey and milk and put it out. But there is so much out there right now that's going on in the world that it doesn't seem like my life ever gets a break. So I'm so damn busy all the time. But this is a whole new thing for me. Just like Bigfoot was new to me. Just like, cryptids, UFOs, aliens. That's all new to me. Now here's something else on my list that's new to me, and it caught my attention. And I'm going to continue to find out more about the fairies and the things. Because I do believe they need a voice. They need a voice. They are magical. And if you help them, they'll help you. But, I was checking out this book my brother gave me. And there was one in there. And they're called brownies. Okay. Kurt, you're going to have to talk to Heidi on that one. Heidi, Kurt says, what is the best material to use to make a fairy house? But they're called brownies. And they wear brown clothes and brown pointed, they have like brown complexion, pointy ears. And what they're considered house fairies. Okay. And what they do is they help keep the house clean. They live in the corners of the house, and they usually go to families who are in dire need of help. So maybe some night, like 1, 2 in the morning, when you're going down to the refrigerator to get that turkey leg that you got hanging out in there and you're hungry, just kind of like sit back and relax and see if there's not a brownie in your house helping you out. Or also, from what I understand, that they're very mischievous too. So a lot of people complain that, they put their keys in a certain place all the time. Then they wake up to get into their car and their keys are gone and they're found somewhere else. Well, some say it could be a spirit, but it also could mean that there's a brownie in that too. You know, I want to thank everybody for listening to the show tonight. I hope everyone, let's see. So Kurt asks, what is the best material to use to make a fairy house? And Casey goes, wood, question mark. And Heidi goes, stone, bark, and twigs, anything really from nature. And add to that. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Heidi. So I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. We had a lot of good talks, a lot of good comments in the chat room. And it was nice to see old friends pop in the chat. So children, if you can, please go to your parents, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. If you have no parents, and if you have no children, find somebody, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. Because those 3 words, I love you, go a long way. And before I close the show, there was a TV show on, and I posted the saying on Facebook on my page. And it goes, quote, I'm not looking for the Ritz, just the saltine, unquote. And on that note, good night, everybody, and see you Sunday night. Good night, everybody.